That's good. Good morning, and well, good morning from where I am, and I'm not sure the different places where you are, so it's a greeting to all of you. Well, today's session is on Ignite Talks, how culture sparks solutions. And now the concept of nature-based solutions is becoming widely known in climate adaptation, but culture-based solutions are not yet well recognized or developed. What possibilities do these presentations bring up? Can the practice of culture heritage-based solutions be more widely grown? We have a number of presenters here that we are going to listen to, and hopefully they would help us, have answers to some of these questions. I would also ask them when at a certain point, we would like to know what the needed steps would be, after the session. And these steps could be issues of research, funding, policies, training, etc. And it could be specific or be general. Because the time is short, and we want you to do that as quickly as possible. Now, for those presenting, we have Anthony de Temple. I hope I pronounced the name correctly.
Yes, but I'm talking on behalf of him because he.
You're talking on behalf of him. Perfect. We have Khwezi, Mpumlwana, Shatha, Safi, Peter Kwapong, and Mohona, Chakraburtty. I hope I have all that correct. So, without wasting any time, we can start with Anthony or the representative. We're ready and waiting to hear from you.
Thank you. You would like to start now? Let me just make a share screen.
And you may quickly just let us know which institution you're coming from so that everybody knows, okay?
Hi, everyone. My name is Rafif Amassi. I'm working as a community engagement and advocacy officer in Premier Urgence International, which is a French-based organization working in the humanitarian aid field, but we started a new program which is leveraged on the protection of cultural heritage and engaging communities. So now I'm going to start my presentation about Give me one minute to actually it's clear for everyone, the presentation?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. Thank you. I would like today to talk about our experience in Premier Urgence International in Palestinian territory. We are working now in Gaza Strip in the field of heritage protection. So I would like to talk about our working intersection between humanitarian aid, cultural heritage, and the environment in the Gaza Strip. Let me start by talking about our...
Hello everyone, my name is Rafif.
Let me just start about my presentation. I think there's something. There's something problem in technical support. Okay. Actually, I'll start my talk about our Intiqal program. Intiqal is a Lathid initiative supported by Premier Urgence International, and it's focused on engaging and the protection of cultural heritage here in Gaza Strip, and engaging youth, community, and stakeholders, and encourage their interaction with archaeological sites. It's an innovative socio-economic development, and we focus on not only on the protection of heritage itself, but also the quality of engagement people in this process. Intiqal is an Arabic term that means and corresponds in English transition and or transfer or moving forward from a situation to a better one. Our approach is, our work program is based on heritage protection that is based on international excellence and experience. And we not only think about heritage protection, but also to have a cultural and social development for people here in Gaza Strip. And we have different activities about engaging people and caring about their well-being during their implementing activities related to cultural heritage. And we have a long-term vision about economic viability and to achieve sustainability during this holistic process. Let me talk about Intiqal. In Intiqal, we give opportunities for youth to take the lead and to be a positive force for development. And we also think about achieving sustainable development goals. And actually, Premier Agent International, uh, in Premier Agent, we have commissioned a report. It's available on our website to analyze how Intiqal program can better contribute to sustainable development goals. Our approach is to learn from our work and to disseminate the lessons of successful strategies and the failed tactics. I like to improve our capacity. It's all to improve our capacity to safeguard and to find a better ways also and always to protect cultural heritage and to achieve the sustainable development goals linked to our activities such as goal 11, goal 12, goal 5, gender equality, and goal 17 and goal 4. And we also work on monitoring and evaluation our activities to match those goals and to perfectly achieve them as possible as we can. In this report, you can have a look and have an ideas about our diverse activities. So we work on restoration of archaeological sites by engaging youth who are graduates from schools of archaeology and architecture. We engage them and give them the experience by experts, international experts, how to correctly protect and preserve those places. And in this slide, you can see the diverse community engagement and awareness raising activities such as site visits, awareness session, voluntary activities. And you can find how we engaged youth and local communities in cultural event in the archaeological site, but in drawing competition and another meaningful activities in the archaeological sites. Let's talk about how we think about environment during our implementing our program. Actually, we also always discuss with youth the impact of climate on the remains and the historical places. So I'll give you an example. We have many mosaic pavement in the archaeological sites, and they are outdoor without protection. And each year we find something new about the weather, the impact of the weather on the mosaic. We have new species, new roots that affect them. So we think also about scientific methods to improve them and to protect them. And we now, as a long term, think we are thinking of installing a protective roof and to install renewable energy on this protective roof to generate electricity and to think about how we are going to make those archaeological sites more efficient in terms of energy and in terms of socio-economic aspects. And another example that we have a training such as zooarchaeological training, and experts give the experience and the knowledge for the youth about how to think about the animals' remains and how they can impact. And during this training, we can check how climate was changed and the remains of animals and remains of plants can give us a very good idea about how to deal with this climate change on the remain itself. So this is our work from again. The core of our work in Premier Urgence and Intiqal is the protection, not only protection of heritage, but also to engage people and to think about their well-being and to work on to have a long-term vision about social and economic development through creating opportunities, poverty, and to think also about environment. And we also have activities such as drainage system to harvest water. And now we are heading to engage and to install renewable energy in the archaeological site. And this also can be done by youth and community engagement approaches. And we also care for creating a peaceful places and to engage youth in places. As you know, here in Palestine, in Gaza Strip, youth and communities have faced many difficulties and faced many. Yes.
Just a quick one. The time. So if you can round up for us so that we can have the next.
I'm going to finish right now. The core idea is to create a safe places in the archaeological sites where people and community can come and engage and express their feeling, and to give them the opportunity to express themselves by being engaged in different cultural activities, and to enjoy them and to feel free and happy and peaceful by being there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that interesting presentation. We move on quickly to Khwezi. If you are ready, please take the floor.
Mr. Khwezi, are you with us? Ah, there you go. Okay.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Yep.
We can hear you.
Wonderful. My name is Khwezi Mpumlwana. I am from South Africa, so it's an afternoon to us at the moment. I work for an organization called National Heritage Council of South Africa. It's a government body. I'm also founder and director of a company known as Zenalia Consulting. It advises on innovation and heritage and transformation. So today I'm talking about heritage, cultural heritage as an underutilized resource for peace, climate change, adaptation, mitigation and resilience, and even for sustainable development for that matter. President Mandela, many years ago, when you were still walking this earth, he called all of us to say, let us stand together to make of our world a sustainable source for our future as humanity on this planet. Because the earth, the world does not belong to this generation. It belongs to future generations. Of course, we have to make a life in our generation, but we have to be responsible for ensuring that futures for those that will come as our children, our grandchildren. I'm using the term of adaptation in this context of living with the challenges that people face. And I use the term of mitigation in this particular instance about reducing the adverse impact. I use the term resilience to mean rebuilding a degree of normality after whatever difficulty has taken place. And in this case, I link peace and culture to say that cultural heritage is a resource for people pulling together, for ensuring mutual understanding, for finding other competitive ways of expressive greatness rather than domination, or say, and that the series of taboos and blessings that are interrelated by marriage and by other ways, kinship, are a very important resource to say, but now that person is related to me, I cannot attack them, or that community, and so on and so on. The taboos about not attacking women or children, which a lot of conventions do try and prevent, but have not succeeded. But we know that for the longest time, cultural heritage, even now in a lot of instances, is able to do that, but we don't often harness its potential. You find people living across borders who are related, but for some reason, that is not always used to prevent them going to war against each other. Climate change, in most cultural heritage practices, give respect to natural resources that have been proven to be good for positive climate change, because a lot of these natural resources have got cultural use, and communities that use these are an important partner in the fight for slowing down adverse climate change. And a lot of the do not have services nearby, so they end up having to travel long distances, they end up having to use transport. Whereas if we build into our mind that one of the ways to fight climate change is to make services available in the communities where a lot of people live. And we find that a lot of communities that benefit the least from technology, from industrialization, from big capital, are the biggest victims of the impact of climate change. And instead of treating them with punitive measures, I think there should be incentives for those communities that use methods that are less harmful to climate change. And then cultural heritage is an enabler and driver of sustainable development. This is not just a slogan that we use in the cultural world. It offers the possibility of the decent balance between people, nature, and culture. A lot of
Khwezi,
organic products. Yes.
Khwezi, you just have 1 minute more, so if you can round up, that would be great.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the time is very limited. Sorry.
That's fine. Yes. Those images, these are where climate change is driven, but the people who pay the most price are the ones who have to work for water. The people who use these kinds of products that you see on the screen, the more the climate change happens, it destroys that kind of thing. So they have a vested interest in making sure that we work together. And power imbalance, unsustainable consumption are harmful. In conclusion, we could use culture for its strong communication systems, for its socially effective influence brokers, used in traditional and social gatherings a lot more than when we use other technologies. The geographic and cultural linguistic proximity, as I've mentioned, to revisit this thing of promoting guzzling consumerism and assert human dignity and diversity, and not make traditional ways look as if they are backward. Who do we talk to? Who do we live out? Can we afford to ignore the cultural networks that have kept communities going for so many years? Do we have enough transgenerational solutions that are inbuilt in culture? Are we using them well? Should we continue to dismiss spiritual solutions? I think not. So in conclusion, in these troubled times, let's use cultural heritage for adaptation and resilience to give the world a more humane and sustainable face, because we who live close the eyes of the dead and they open our eyes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Khwezi. That's also another interesting one. Shatha, are you ready?
Yes, I'm Saja Mansour, but I will be representing Riwaq instead of Ms. Shatha Safi.
No problem. Please go ahead then.
Today I'll talk about Kafr Aqab, the Historic Center, as a cultural and environmental hub. In 2015, Riwaq started the Life Jacket project, which is the restoration and regeneration of rural Jerusalem. This project came to challenge the geopolitical and environmental challenges that Jerusalem is suffering from. Therefore, Riwaq has developed an innovative method to invest in the socio-economic potentials of rural Jerusalem, which is to explore the rehabilitation of the historic centers within a broader urban context and their historic relation with each other. The vision for Kafr Aqab, by rehabilitating the historic center to transform the space into cultural and social hub through an environmental approach. by building strong relationship with effective institutions that hold a participatory societal vision. This restored building could form the base for centers and institutions, while public spaces and courtyards would bind these institutions together to form a common space. The public space would be utilized as places for community activities. The cultivated terraces that once existed would be regenerated into community gardens. A public playground had been designed in collaborative workshop with architectural students. A historic hiking trail connected the historic center of Kafr Aqab along with Jaba Historic Center was activated, and the rooftops were turned into public landscape spaces after they were converted into green roofs, which can be accessed by all the locals and their people. This abandoned historic center would not have been open or participatory or as a cultural hub that serves as an outlet for the local people without a deep understanding of life and old village life of Kafr Aqab. A long-term research through oral history, which was conducted to help uncover the daily life habits, ceremonies, stories, and identify the families and properties. The research was initially in collaboration with a storyteller. The research resulted in a narrative storytelling performance about a local shrine and the ancient oak tree. The research was culminated with a video installation and the Adam and Eve, the storyteller exhibition, which explores the different roles of male and female storytelling, their narrative, social and their political impact through highlighting excerpts of collected oral history narratives. Coming to the environmental approach, which was adapted because of the disastrous environmental problems that this approach analyzes the interaction among living systems and their environment between human and non-human processes. The planning approach proposed a well-designed water management system, landscape plan, greenery waste, separation, and thermal comfort program, taking advantage of available and integrating green and water elements were designed as projection, and the underground water was reflected as a canal network that collects water from adjacent areas and filters the water through pebble stone and directed into rainwater to existing wells in order to be used for irrigation. Green roofs and collective agricultural gardens are essential parts of this project. These are the physical intervention that actually were made in Kafr Aqab. And this is the result of the hiking trail as it started as a hiking trail from Kafr Aqab and ended in Jaba, and then there were a performance based on the oral history. This is the current situation of Kafr Aqab. And this is how you can see it's narrow labyrinth streets and it's empty of any safe places for children to play. Now we have reached stage 4 in the rehabilitation of Kafr Aqab. This picture, it reflects the status of Kafr Aqab in 2015. And through restoration, we have reached this level after 1 year. And then the third level, we renovated a municipality hall to hold the all the activities of the municipality. And then with the help of the community and the local artist, we did this mural painting on the rooftop to allow another concept for roofs to be converted from a private space into a public one, especially the roofs of the historic center of Kafr Aqab. During phase one, it was the municipality activity hall, and it turned from this view into this one. And then I will continue with the rest of the pictures so you can see how it was. And now with the magic wand, it will be like this. And the magic wand is actually Rivak's work. And from this one, this one is for Dahlia Association. It's a guest house, and it has an eco kitchen. It has two women from Kafr Aqab. They serve meals every day for people. This is the eco kitchen, and then it turned into this one. And then we move to the renovation of inside. The first phase is it started with the physical prevention of the.
May I step in briefly? Your time?
Yes, I will.
Just round it up because it's up already. Thank you.
Yes. So I will continue and show you before and after photos. And this is the team collecting the oral history of the project. And then the activity, the hiking trail, and ending up with a performance about the shrine and the ancient oak tree. And this is community activities. And then sketching tours and the mural painting. And this is it. And these are for further any information, please visit us on these social platforms. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. And I'm hoping that the mural can actually withstand the element, especially the fact that the mural is actually looking upwards, you know,
Yeah.
Quite interesting. Thank you. Can we move to Peter now? Professor Kwapong, if you are ready. Hello. Hello, Professor Kwapong, if you are ready. Okay, let's move quickly to Mohona so that she presents. After that, then Professor Kwapong can do that. So Mohona, if you are here, please take the floor.
Thank you so much. I will share my screen. So I am Mohona, and I'll briefly introduce myself. I'm a conservation architect from India, and I'm currently working with the First Aid and Resilience for Cultural Heritage in Times of Crisis, the FAR program of ICRAM. And I should begin my presentation. Cultural heritage and its practices evolves with time. My presentation aims to address the impacts of this transformation or change on the environment in times where climate change is causing cyclic disasters and shaping the future of conflicts. Last year, the Durga Puja of Bengal, an annual festival celebrated in the cultural capital of India, Kolkata, was added to the UNESCO's representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Durga Puja is an annual festival celebrated mostly in the eastern part of India to pay homage to the Hindu goddess Durga and commemorate the victory of good over evil. Recently, a spectacle of global attention, the festival started in the 16th century and became an icon of the freedom movement in India. Its inclusive characteristic is amplified by the active participation of the communities from different religions in Bengal, thus honoring the city's long history of multiculturalism and tolerance. Artists, potters, ritual drummers, and many others are dependent on this festival for their livelihoods. Creative industries such as idol making, lighting, illumination, retail, sponsorships, food industries benefit from this festival, which means not only providing livelihoods or generating livelihoods, but also ensuring intergenerational transfer of traditional knowledge of idol making and other crafts. During these 5 days, all the divides of class, religion, and ethnicities collapse when the crowds walk around the city to admire these installations. Over 50 such festivals in India are celebrated each year, where magnificent idols, let me move on to the next slide, where magnificent idols, as you see on the screen, are crafted, worshipped, and immersed in the holy rivers. The immersion, which I just talked about, is actually a Hindu ritual where the gods and goddesses are immersed in the holy rivers of India, like the Ganges, to bid farewell to these deities when they return to their abodes. Owing to the popularity of these festivals these days nationwide and the rapid commercialization, the traditional practices such as molding the idols out of clay, straw, bamboo, and making the decorations of these idols using a particular plant material called shulapit are now being replaced by time-efficient production techniques. This includes making idols out of non-biodegradable materials such as plaster of Paris and toxic paints. And as I said, because of the immersion, these are adding excessive amounts of chemicals to the waters. Therefore,
Can I just ask quickly,
festivals,
is there only one slide or there are others that you're showing?
I was showing the other slides. It did not change, I guess.
Yes, Mohona, can you stop sharing then share again? I think that would help.
Yes. Do you see it now?
No, if you want, send it over and I can share it from my end. No, Mohona, it says you're still sharing your screen.
How
now
about
it shows, yes.
So these were the traditions and the practices that I was talking about. You can see in the images the craft of making the decorations for the idols, the small diyas, as we call it, to light up during the festivals. And these is the essence of Durga Puja, and these are what generating livelihoods. So just to, and again, this is the situation when the immersion happens following the Hindu traditions, this is what it leaves behind. So my point is, while these festivals and cultural traditions, they bring communities together and they generate livelihoods, their byproducts poses a great threat to the environment and is also amplifying the risk of water wars between India and its neighboring countries like Bangladesh. So the purpose of my Ignite talk today is not to question these rituals, but to promote the greening of the associated creative industries, finding solutions that doesn't isolate cultural heritage safeguard from the safeguard of its environment, and to promote the evolution of the essence of these practices while reducing the pressure of commercialization, to allow these creative industries, to go back to these traditional and sustainable methods. Thank you very much. I conclude my presentation. I'm sorry for the technical glitch.
Thank you very much. That was quite interesting. I would just added that certainly the issue of sustainable tourism would also have to be incorporated into what you're doing. So perhaps you can look at that later on. Thank you very much. Prof. Kopong, if you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Excellent.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, so I'll share my screen. I can't see myself by the side. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. We just see you.
Oh. How do I share my screen? I did that earlier on.
There's a green button that you see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We can see it now.
Thank you. My name is Peter Kwapong, and I'm a professor at the University of Cape Coast, one of the coastal towns in Cape Coast in Ghana. And I'm also the founder and director of the International Stingless Bees Center. Yes, stingless bees are a gift to nature, especially in the tropical regions, but I'll talk generally about bees and pollinators, and then I'll conclude on stingless bees. Bees are important pollinators of crops, vegetables, and natural vegetation that produce fruits, seeds, and nuts for humanity. They number about 20,000 to 30,000 species globally. There are two main groups of bees. You have the social bees and the solitary bees. And the stingless bees fall into the social bees. And stingless bees, like the other stinging bee that produces honey, also produce honey, but these are limited to the tropical and subtropical ecosystems. And they are among the most important pollinators, pollinating over 200 plant families. Basically, they are stinging apparatus is non-functional, but they have a mouthpass, which is well developed for defense. And each colony has one queen, a few males, and thousands of females, which we call workers. In a cavity, they normally inhabit cavities of tree logs. Worldwide, there are about 600 species of these bees. And they produce and store valuable medicinal hive product, honey, pollen, and propolis. In 2005, I founded and set up an international stingless bees center to do research and also teach the people. So to begin with, I started with an indigenous study with some of my graduate students. And the knowledge that the indigenous people hold shows that the stingless bees are actually a heritage to them. And what they didn't know is whether you can culture them and make use of them. So I turned that indigenous knowledge into scientific knowledge and set up the center. And now the center attracts people from all over the world. And even the young generations are introduced to it. I go back to the indigenous people, try to retrain them about this heritage that they have. And also, engage other stakeholders, and even our young generations who are in the high schools and the universities also are also part of the beneficiary for this particular center. At the center, we have, even though we have 12 different species of bees in Ghana so far, of these stingless bees. At the center, I have these 4 species, Mpumlwana bucandi, the brown ones. The black ones are Mpumlwana ferruginea. They are the most productive. Then the very small ones, these ones are called Hypotrigona. Then we have ferruginea, this 4th one. On my right here, you have the bees, instead of making honey in the hives, like the other ones, they produce honey in pots. So you can see some of the pots broken with the honey in it. And this honey is highly medicinal. The pots also contain pollen, which is also nutritious and medicinal. Then you have propolis, which they use in varnishing their hives and sealing holes, and it's also an antibiotic, natural antibiotics. Now, bees together with other animals pollinate several of our food crops.
Prof, you have a minute more, so if you can round up quickly.
Wow.
Yes,
so
time is really short.
These are so important for our survival and survival of ecosystems. Nearly 90% of the worldwide plant family depend entirely or partly on bees. So bees are key to conserving biodiversity. And where do I go? These bees, which are, as it were, natural heritage to the local community or the indigenous people, are under threat. And close to 35% of all these pollinators and bees are getting extinct globally. And if we leave out these bees, it means we are getting rid of nutritious crops such as fruits, nuts, and vegetables. And this will be substituted by just rice, corn, and potato, meaning diet is imbalanced. There are challenges that these bees face. Climate change is number one, have been affecting these bees. Pesticide use, intensive farming practices, land use change like habitat destruction. In Ghana, we have something we call surface mining, which is galamsey, sand winning, bush burning, logging, and diseases and pests. The International Stingless Bee Center was therefore set up to rescue and domesticate these and culture these colonies for conservation, research, training, livelihood, and aesthetics, and also manage the hive products for our use. So the solution, I think, is that we want to encourage beekeeping, want to reduce change the usage of pesticides, create public awareness through World Bee Day celebrations, plant bee-loving trees in the open, encourage home gardening and wild bee-loving plants, changing land use practices and adapting pollinator-friendly practices, engaging policymakers, and probably funding more stingless bee work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. That's also a very interesting presentation. Now we have just 5 more minutes to close the session. And the question that I'm asking all of you, I think I made that from the beginning. What do you see as needed next steps? And these steps could be research, funding, policies, and I think, Prof, you've mentioned some of them, etc. They could be specific or general. And which is likely to be in most. So basically, what I'm asking now is, what do you see as the needed next steps, following the presentation? So we can go from our first presenter, maybe you have a minute to do that, and it comes on all the way to Prof, and then I think we can close. So Anthony or his rep, if you have anything to say on that, it would be nice to hear from you. Hello? Hello? Okay, but then we'll go to Khwezi. Khwezi, do you have any next steps that you'd like to share with us before we close?
Thank you very much, Chair. I think one of the important things after this is to have a collaboration of the different people who have participated in the conversation about the place of culture in the search for better climate management and peace. Is to look at some of the suggestions or best practices people have mentioned and share it across regions and find pilots that could work. And I hope there's going to be some kind of publication based on the work that has been done over the past 4 days, so that it can be a resource. It might even have to be a digital, what you call, for people who were not part of this amazing conversation for the whole time, because I think it's a valuable resource. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Khwezi. Shatha, do you have any next steps? Are you there? Okay, then we go to Mohona. Mohona, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, so let's hear your next steps.
Well, I'm still very mesmerized by all the presentations, and I wish Shatha could share a little bit more about her work because I was very interested. For me, it's really about connecting all the sectors and all, the heritage with its environment, and not to have an isolated approach. For me, the next steps would be to bring things to a point that the heritage and its environment they're all integrated, and we have an approach which is kind of unified.
Thank you very much. Prof. Kwapong, you have the last.
Thank you very much.
But not least, yeah.
It's unfortunate I didn't have time to go through all my slides, but the point I want to say going forward is the fact that all the presenters make very valuable points, and I see heritage, I see culture, and I see climate change all interacting with each other. And I want to say that indigenous knowledge is very important because they are the people that bear the consequence of climate change, and nature must not be forgotten. Nature. So God has given us natural resources like bees, and bees play a very important role in our survival as human beings and also other plants and animals. So attention should be drawn to people to know these little bees in the system, the importance they play, and how our activities are destroying the heritage that the local people have, and also how climate come in and how we can all harness all this to mitigate climate change.
Thank you very much, Prof. So the session, Ignite Talks, How Culture Spark Solutions, ends now. I'd like to thank all the presenters. I think they're very, very interesting. And as has been said, I'm sure things will be put together and hopefully shared so that all of us can have a deeper understanding and have more in-depth knowledge of what you actually shared. Thank you so much, and wish you all have a very, very wonderful day.
Thank you, Carl.